If you're tired of staring at a blank screen, wondering what to post, or simply looking at your content and thinking that it is too random, too sporadic, in this video, you're going to discover the exact system that I use to make sure I create strategic content. And not only that, it is also organized. I'm going to break down the simplest Notion content calendar that I use for my business that is stress-free, it is easy, it's not an overcomplicated Notion board you might have bought for $97 or whatever the case may be. And I'm also going to share with you how I capture ideas anytime, whether I have internet or whether I don't have internet. So I'm only using 2 apps to manage my content calendar. And here's the kicker. You don't need any fancy tool or fancy equipment to create a content calendar. You don't need another $47 Notion board. You don't need any of that. You simply need 2 tools that I'm going to show you in this video. Okay, so let's be real. Content doesn't post itself. If you're waking up every single day wondering, what am I going to post today? You don't have anything in your content bank or the bank of ideas where you have all the little ideas that come to you every single day. If you're not sure what your content pillars are, if you're just not sure what is going on every single day when you're trying to show up on social media and be consistent like everybody told you to, then you need a content calendar, because if you're just trying to wing your content strategy, it's never going to work. You're going to show up for 1 week and then you'll be gone for another 3 weeks. And that's not how you build a sustainable business. That's not how you build a brand. And that's not how you build trust with your audience either. But when you have a simple system or a content calendar where you wake up every day, you open up your computer, you have a clear, organized strategy and system, and like literally a calendar where you see, okay, so I'm posting this today, I'm posting this tomorrow, you know exactly what's happening in your content strategy every single day. That's when things become simple. You need a predictable system that you're going to follow every single day. Because let's face it, you probably have opened Instagram before, scrolling through the Reels feed, scrolling through your feed in general, trying to get that inspiration, doing content research for an hour or two, and then by the end of it, you just scrolled for an hour or 2 hours and you haven't found anything, and you're sitting there thinking, I just wasted so much time and I still have 0 ideas in my brain or in my calendar. In just a minute, I'm going to show you exactly how I plan my content calendar for social media and even for YouTube using Notion. And I'm also going to show you how I use Notes app straight on my phone. And it's the easiest, simplest, most undervalued and underused tool on the market, in my opinion, because there are so many paid tools and they're amazing and everything, but the only tool that I always have on the go, whether I'm on the plane without internet, whether I'm on the train, whether I'm out with friends, I don't have the time to always open up my Notions app. I don't have the time to always open up my Canva and throw ideas in there, but I always have access to my Notes app. It's integrated with obviously my phone. It's integrated on my iPad. So whatever device that I have with me is on my computer as well. So if you are a user of Android or PC, please find an alternative for that, whether it's Google Notes or whatever other Notes app that you have, that you always have access to no matter what. And that's going to become your content idea bank, where I personally have, I'm literally going to tell you right now, I have about 455 content ideas in there. Now, not all of them are necessarily relevant anymore, but every single time I just like randomly scroll through and I land on an idea on a piece of content actually that I posted, let's say in 2022, I can either repost it if it's still good, or I can take an idea and recreate something better. So now let's dive into the screen and look how I organize my Notion board and how you can implement the same strategy for yourself. And considering I'm recording this on May 27th, so I don't have a content calendar at the moment at all for June. So we're literally going to plan it from scratch. Okay, so now I am in my screen and we're going to have a look at my Notes app, so literally exposing my business and all of my ideas. So as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of ideas sitting here. So I've got, Sunday, Friday, multiple ideas and multiple posts that I was writing out. Thursday, if I scroll down, so this is propaganda I'm not falling for. This is literally the video that I just recorded. And for my Instagram reels. So now if I scroll all the way down here, we're gonna go all the way down to 2020 actually. So if you can see here, marketing driven versus market driven. Some ideas I haven't even created. I don't think that I talked about this one, but overall, if I scroll through anything, and some may be actually like weird, stop pursuing a business model that hasn't worked for you in 10 years, try something different. It's not 2012 anymore. There are plenty of business models that fit any personality type. So very different content ideas that I've created over the last 10 years, 5 years here in particular. But every single time I have an idea, whether I'm on the train, whether I'm reading a book, I literally just pop the idea here and, idea one, whatever the case may be, right? So this always goes into my notes app. This is always step number one when I create ideas, when I need to go back through my content. When I'm stuck, I reference this particular notes app. I always rely on it. And honestly, if I did not have it, it would be really tough to create content, I would say, in the first place. And even for somebody who is teaching content, for somebody who has a content-oriented program, the Content Confidential, where I dive a lot deeper into this. But in general, I always rely on this. It's always been helpful, and I can scroll again to anywhere down here. So obviously, I'm not going to necessarily repurpose a post that I just shared last month, right? So let's say this one, I shared this on social media, but I can go all the way down to 2024, I shared the video, did you know that Van Gogh created 7 paintings of the famous sunflowers, blah, blah, blah. So I can always refer back to any video that I created before, any piece of content that I published. There are some that I have not shared. Some may not be as relevant anymore. So for example, I no longer offer social media management. So this is not necessarily how I would create this piece of content. So for example, now it says fears every social media manager has. And I could actually recreate this as for something for a coach, for example, right? So I could do something like that. So I could talk about, posting to the wrong account by accident. So this obviously would not be relevant anymore, getting any account hacked or suspended. But either way, I could come up with something from this post, schedule post, getting an error not posting, or you could I could post something like when your business relies on social media and this happens, right? And I could create some sort of like funny Instagram reel or something relatable that my audience would want to reshare to their profiles as well. So that's when it comes to Notes app. Now, if I open my Notion board, this is the second most important thing that I have in my business, and I absolutely love it because I have essentially everything at a glance here. Now, it's very, very simple. So there's 3 main things, 2, I would even say. So brain dump, this is the ideas list where I actually transfer everything from the Notes app. Notes app is just kind of like whatever comes to my brain, whatever I have, and then Notion is where if I open this, you're going to see it's kind of organized, a lot of them. Some don't exist here for some reason. And it's tagged as an idea. The status is idea before it moves anywhere, right? So this is literally organized by ideas. That's the only thing that I see here. Then I also have, we look at by category, so I have the name of the post. I have the content pillar for pretty much most of them. Then I have the date where I anticipated of posting it, and I believe, some actually I have to mark them as posted, so there was like a slight miscommunication here with the live videos that we were doing, so everything essentially goes here. So it starts here, then I've got, the status, obviously, idea, in progress, in draft, ready for scheduling, published. Keep it simple. The format of what the post is going to look like, whether it's brand photo, whether it's a carousel, a reel, live video, anything else you come up with, you can do. If you have, let's say, a YouTube, for your YouTube channel, for example, you could have like long form video or something like that. So which is something that I personally have to add here because I have YouTube here as well. As you can see, June 4, we have a brand new video here, which is what I'm recording right now. And then we've got the intention of the post. I don't always have it for every single one of them, But if I'm in the promotion phase, I would always post promotion if I have any kind of launch coming up, which I do have a launch in June. And then I've got the platform. And typically, again, I keep my content strategy very, very simple. Since I'm building a personal brand, I post on pretty much every single platform. My main social media platforms are Instagram and Facebook. I typically create either first for Facebook or for Instagram, and then I repurpose to other platforms and I tailor it slightly to each platform. I tweak some posts. Let's say if I'm gonna curse on Facebook, I'm not gonna curse on LinkedIn, right? So and then I have the call to action here as well. So if I show you some of them, so I've got Content Confidential, which is my signature program. I've got VIP Day, 60 Ideas, LM means lead magnet, and then I've got Series. So I know exactly what I'm promoting. And if I don't have a call to action, I can typically see, okay, where am I having gaps in my lead generation strategy? Like, am I not promoting enough? So, and then here I've got email, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Threads, Facebook, Instagram. Threads, I don't always personally plan in here. I just typically go into the platform and I schedule them. But other than that, Instagram and Facebook, I generally need to have them on my content calendar. YouTube, I definitely need to have it in my content calendar. As you can see here, I've got, the video for which you're seeing right now being recorded. So I've got everything here. So it is the idea right now. I can already post that it is in progress because I am literally recording this right now. The call to action, there's actually going to be multiple, so I'm not necessarily going to choose that. Content pillar is, we're talking about social media content. I'm going to put content marketing. That's mostly like relevant to that. Inspiration is typically a link for a sound on Instagram, so it's not really relevant here. Intention, YouTube is all about reach for me, so I can put reach over here. So that looks ready. Now, when you have a content calendar, first of all, I always think about, do I have any promotion that I get to do? So for example, June 1, I'm starting the promotion of, I'm actually going to add it here. So I'm going to call it Telegram pop-up because I know what it is. So it is a Telegram pop-up group that I'm going to be running for 10 days. So I'm going to create it. And then all the call to actions are going to be related to that. And then all the content pieces are going to be relevant to that. And let's see, the new idea probably showed up here. So yeah, as you can see, June 1, we've got the idea. We don't know what the idea is yet, but it's there. And then CTA is Telegram pop-up. Right, platform, I can put Instagram first. Intention, I'm going to put promotion. And then let's see what it's going to do here. It obviously, updated here. Now, then I can also figure out, okay, so what topics do I have that I'm going to be talking about during my my promotion, right? And obviously I don't have like anything written down here. It's just like a buffer week essentially. So I've got the promotion starting here and then it's going to go all the way until June 9, right? So I'm still going to have a post here. It's going to go, let's say, on Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn probably as well, my email. So there we go. So that's going to be another post. And then essentially I drag things around, right? And then I can add all the posts in here. And the way I do this is, first of all, I have a promotion. That's number one. Number two, I get to think about what kind of topics am I going to talk about in my content, which are going to be straight up promotional, which are not going to be promotional, which are going to be, let's say, which content pillar am I going to also talk about? Am I going to share a personal story? So for example, when I start talking about the offer here, I could actually share a personal story. And that could be, 10 years ago versus today, right? So the Telegram pop-up group is actually going to be about the 10 biggest mistakes that I've made in business in the last 10 years. So I know that I have to heavily rely on personal stories, right? So I could even have a post here that's also going to be promoting the Telegram pop-up group, and then the content pillar is also going to be personal story. And then let's say here I've got a YouTube video, which is another thing that as a content creator you have to add. When are you going to be creating your pillar content? And pillar content is the long form content that you're going to be publishing, whether it's going to be a blog, whether it's going to be a YouTube, whether it's going to be a podcast. So let's say I'm going to post a YouTube video on the 4th, and then I'm going to post another YouTube video on the 18th. So I'm going to post, platform YouTube, and that's just going to be like in progress here. And everything that I start always has idea first. And so that's essentially how I manage. So that's like the tech side of it, right? And then, you obviously want to I would also color code. Something that I'm seeing a bit of a gap in my content calendar is I would want to see the platform in the cards here, because typically I just want to see like what's in progress, what's the name of the post, and then this kind of grid view, disregard that. Like I was playing with having like an Instagram grid preview here, obviously, and that's not really something that I'm using right now. So then the other thing that you could do is, if you have any content topics, let's say I can rely on my ideas here and think, okay, so which content pieces have I not created or shared before yet? Because all of them are in the idea phase. So what could I create that's going to be relevant to my launch, right? So I could see this one when potential client asks why they should hire you. So that actually could be relevant. So I could put Telegram pop-up group, and I could put it on, let's say I'm starting the promotion on the 1st, so I'm going to create it on the 2nd, right? And now it moved out of here and it changed to the 2nd of June, right? And then it's still in the idea phase because obviously it's not recorded, but now it pre-populated here. So I've got an idea for the 2nd of June, and so on and so forth. And then essentially you have to keep filling it up until you have everything ready. Now, do you need to be posting every single day? Not necessarily. It all depends on your goals. Now, when I'm in the promotion phase, yes, I do get to post daily. June is probably going to be full of content because I've got the Telegram pop-up group that I'm running. So that's just like what's in the back of my mind right now. I've got a launch for my VIP days. I've got my program launch, and I've got a podcast launch. So let's say here I'm just going to mark it as a YouTube video like this. And then let's say here I've got a podcast launch. So I'm going to have to add like a new platform here and I'm going to add it right here, podcast. And then I'm going to put, podcast launch. And that's essentially how you create it. And then all you really have to do is, one, obviously create content. Two is make sure that the calendar is set up to your liking and how you want it to look like. For example, for me, I like to see the status. I like to see what's the format of the content piece. So let's say if it's a YouTube video, I'm actually going to add, let's see, where is it? Format. I'm going to add long form video. And that's going to be that. So that way I can see, okay, long form video, it's going to be a YouTube video and it's easy for me to distinguish, right? So long form video. And then this, I'm going to add another format, podcast episode. Okay, and that way I can see, all right, so long form video, 9 times out of 10 is going to be YouTube. Here it's going to be YouTube, or I can add, I can change my filtering here as well. So not going to bother with this right now, but that's essentially how I manage my content calendar. So first of all, we start with the Notes app, just the brain dump ideas. Then once I have like a bunch of stuff that I save on Instagram, if I have any kind of sounds, I also transfer them here, and then all the ideas go right into this tab, and I can click out of it, and then I can just see my content calendar. And once I add the dates here, if I change, let's say I need routine in my life, so I can put it on, let's say the 6th, right? And then it's going to show up here. And that way it's easy for me to manage. It's all in one place. It's not complicated. And I would highly recommend for you to have a similar setup. If you would like how to create an entire content strategy step by step, because we obviously cannot cover this all here, then I highly encourage you to check out the Content Confidential program. I'm going to drop the link down below. And that's how I manage my content calendar.